Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. What is going on, everybody? Somebody has a case of the Mondays. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And, well, Bob's your uncle. Rants on the Street with Thomas Stevens. Shout out to my producer, Tyler Heavy T. Soto. Boom. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. Yes, a very, very happy Halloween to all my fellow ranters out there everywhere. Obviously, Halloween is tomorrow night. I wish you guys a fun evening of festivities and trick-or-treating with the little ones. I know I'm going to take mine out trick-or-treating. She is going to be a Snow White, actually, ironically enough. Snow White, and she's blonde, and we'll figure it out. But it should be a lot of fun tomorrow night, and I hope you have a great Halloween as well. I obviously am Michelangelo because he's tubular and awesome, and Ninja Turtles are the greatest thing. I'm also a 90s kid, and we'll see how long I can wear this mask because I cannot see out of it. But happy Halloween to all my fellow ranters out there. And as always, this is Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. Now, tonight, if there are any technical difficulties, I apologize. Yes, I know. I am doing this solo because Heavy T, my partner in crime, is, well, he is off tonight.
Oh, hell no!
So I am self-producing this show. Going back to 2015, baby. I can do it. I can do it. And for you, my fellow ranters. Today is also a fantastic day in the wide world of sports for one reason and one reason only. That reason? Well, it's the sports equinox. That's right. It's the sports equinox. What does that mean? We got World Series baseball. We got Monday Night Football between the Raiders and the Lions. We got NBA action going off right now. And we have NHL at the same time. And if you want to get crazier, it's also the MLS playoffs. That's right. All major American sports are at the same time right now. And it is glorious. But have no fear. I will have you covered for all of it tonight. So I did mention right now, it is the Raiders versus Lions. Currently, the score is 6-0, 2 field goals for the Lions. And Patterson, been a couple turnovers here. Garoppolo's thrown an interception. We had a fumble on the other side for the Lions. Been kind of a real sloppy game. The Garoppolo interception was, well, not good. He didn't have Devontae Adams wide open in the end zone. He threw a deep ball, way underthrew it, and was easily picked off right after they got the fumble recovered from the Lions. And the Raiders are not looking good right now, but neither the Lions really. Yeah, they've been able to get down to the field to get 2 field goals, but at the end of the day, something's off here. I don't know what it is, but something is off. We do have St. Brown has 2 catches for 20 yards. Gibbs, 9 rushing attempts for 27 already. So getting him involved early. Laporta, 2 for 6. On the other side, for the Raiders, it's only Josh Jacobs. 1 catch for 12 yards and 5 for 12. That's right. Garoppolo, 1 for 6 for 12 yards and the interception. Not looking good here for the Raiders at all. But more on this later because the NFL is anybody's game right now. It truly and really is. And I'm kind of surprised at what I saw yesterday. But like I said, I will get into that a little later. The World Series right now, Texas and Arizona. The game's going quick tonight. It's a very low-scoring game. It is currently 3-0 Texas in the bottom of the 4th already. Texas got a couple of hits and RBIs from Semien, and then Corey Seager hit a 2-run home run as well. They lead 3-0. Scherzer on the hill. He has 1K through 3 against Fat, who has 3 Ks, but those 3 earned runs. Series tied 1-1. I think this is going to go 7. These two teams match up very well with one another, and I have a feeling this has 7 written all over it. I don't know who's going to win. Game 1 was insane. The extra innings game, the pitching matchup, you thought Texas was out. The Corey Seager home run to tie it, and sure enough, a home run won it at the end with Adolis Garcia. And the Diamondbacks complete control over Game 2. We got Game 3 tonight. Game 4 is tomorrow. Then we got Game 5, and then Game 6 already on Friday. And if there needs to be a Game 7, it'll be this weekend. So we'll be rounding out the end of the baseball, as you will, for the year. A lot going to happen this offseason in MLB. It's going to be crazy. Again, 3-0 Texas over Arizona. NBA is in action as well currently. I do have some bets for you for the night game with the Lakers. After last night, a bad loss, I think, to Sacramento, who was undermanned at the end of that game with Fox injured and Sabonis fouling out. But still, all some best bets for you there. Currently, right now, as we stand, no game is final yet, but my Indiana Pacers, who I'm high on, is up 92-90. 2-0 Indiana Pacers, by the way, over the Bulls. The Celtics have no problem with the Wizards right now. No surprise. Brooklyn, no problem with the Hornets. Minnesota taking care of Atlanta. Portland, Toronto is notched up right now in the third. Golden State struggling a little bit with New Orleans. It was a little bit of a surprise at the half, but we'll see how Golden State recovers. Milwaukee is all over Miami. And Oklahoma, man, this is the team of Oklahoma. 56-45 over the Pistons. And Dallas, 67 over the who's going to play for me today, Memphis Grizzlies, 67-61. We do have the Utah-Denver game about to tip off right now as well. So that will be starting momentarily. And then we'll have the surprising 2-0 Orlando Magic, who we joked about on the show in the preview last week that they may be the next Bobcats of the NBA and have one of the lowest winning percentages of all time. But they're off to a great start. They play the Lakers, who was coming off a back-to-back and a loss last night in Sacramento. So it ought to be interesting. So let me give you some best bets that I have for that game tonight before we go into the rant lines here on Monday Night Rants. Currently right now, it is only because of the hot start for Orlando, and this is in Staples Center in Los Angeles. It's only -2.5. You say, okay, well, why? 67% of the public is on the Lakers. A lot, because thinking it's Lakers. They come off, but they are coming off the back-to-back. And Orlando has actually surprised some folks so far this year. Now, I tend to want to be on the public here with this because it just seems so, easy, right? -2.5, Lakers at home. Big loss last night against the Sacramento Kings. Now, Rui is out. LeBron James is going to play. So it looks like everybody is going to play for the Lakers. So there's no injury concerns. I don't know why this is -2.5. It seems almost too good to be true. Normally, I would say, okay, I'm going the other way here, going against the public and taking the 2.5. But Orlando on the road here. Yes, hot start at all, going to Staples on a pissed off Lakers team who lost last night to Sacramento and should have. I am going to go ahead and say, I'm going to take with the public. I know, Edward. I know. It's against my moral authority here. I'm taking the Lakers at -2.5. I think that's the best bet for tonight. Some other things you got to worry about here. The over and under at 219. I kind of like that to be under. I just don't know how Orlando is going to score enough points. I think this could get out of control, maybe at half. Maybe a bench situation in the fourth quarter. If that happens, 219 seems a little high for me. So I'm taking the under of the Lakers Magic game tonight at 219.5, with the Lakers covering the -2.5, which seems too good to be true, by the way, over at betmgm.com. MNRGuillotine.com. So there you go. A couple of props maybe I may like tonight. Point scores wise, not really. Benchero's at 18.5. It's kind of like right where it should be. I'd probably lean on the under here because of what I said. Game script, right? Game script for Orlando. Under for Benchero seems like the smart play here. So I would take the under on his points. And again, like I think this game's going to go, it's going to be one of those bench clearing. In the end, the Lakers should dominate. Then there's other players you want to take advantage of. With that being said, 20.5 for LeBron James. He's going to play. He's probable. I like the over on LeBron James on the 20.5. With that being said, too. So a couple unders, couple overs I like here. I like to mix it up. I hate when you go to a site and they just give you all these picks and they're all over. If you've learned anything from the NFL this year, it's that over is not hitting. It's the lowest totals we've had in the NFL in over a decade. And they're still hitting under at an alarming rate. They want you to bet the overs. Take some unders in there, mix it up. You'll find you'll be a more profitable bettor that way. So there you have it. Some other things here, or something I really, really enjoy, and you should probably enjoy too, because like I said, this is .com. You can play bingo. I love fantasy bingo. It is the best. You can play NBA fantasy bingo, NFL fantasy bingo. All the great fantasy bingo games over at rivalfantasy.com. The best part, deposit match up to $200 for new users and a complimentary first play voucher. That's right. Your first bingo card will be free when you go to joinrival.com/alarm. That's joinrival.com/alarm. Get your bingo cards in. They also have great matchups, a great, and I mean great season long that they launched this year. A lot of good things going on over there. So make sure you go check it out. If you love bingo like me and you want to check that out, go ahead to joinrival.com/alarm. Okay, there you go. See, this production is getting crazy, huh? No heavy tea. And next thing you know, it's off the rockers, if you will. You know what else was off the rockers? The Ngannou-Tyson Fury fight on Saturday. Now, I was excited about this. Woke up. I got some work done in the morning. I had my daughter's soccer game. It's like, I got to watch this fight. It's the battle of the baddest, for God's sakes. The battle of the baddest. I had to see it. Now, I think it was like minus 1,400 Fury odds pre-fight. So I got home. The fight hasn't started yet. Thank God for boxing and an hour-and-a-half intro to walk-ups. That was stupid. They both had to come out in crowns. They both had to dance around for a while. Ngannou was the slowest walker I've ever seen in my life. And then Tyson Fury was dancing around to like 8 different songs in a circle. They finally got in the ring and finally fought an hour and a half later. I'm not going to lie. Ngannou held his own, and I thought he won the fight. I really think Francis Ngannou beat Tyson Fury. Now, he knocked him down. He had the harder hits. Tyson Fury was bleeding from his head. His eye was swollen. No nick, no cut on Ngannou whatsoever. The stats were very, very close throughout the entire fight. One could argue Ngannou won even rounds of the 10 with a knockdown, which would make him the winner. However, the cards were off. Tyson Fury won by decision, and one card had it like him by 4 rounds. It was silly. Now, this top ranked, this ESPN, this the WBC want their moneymaker, their undefeated heavyweight champion, losing in a non-sanctioned event to Ngannou? No. Now it hurt. That's bad for business. But he lost. Ngannou won that fight. Good for Ngannou. It shows that he could actually play or box. It's not just MMA. The guy's the hardest hitter in the world. I was outraged. Nagano won that fight. Clearly won that fight. But, like I said, they couldn't have their moneymaker losing a non-sanctioned event. They got their money. And I want my money back. Because I believe that Francis Ngannou on Saturday was robbed. Straight robbed. He won. I have eyes. I could see WBC, Top Rank, ESPN. I could see this. He won. You just can't have your moneymaker losing a non-sanctioned event. That was discouraging. You know what else was discouraging? This. And we don't like that. Kirk Cousins have gotten a lot of slack, or not a lot of slack, but a lot of crap over the years until we all watched Quarterback on Netflix and went, man, this guy's actually all right. You know, family, lives up in the country, has a nice house. I feel bad for him in his trophy room, but, you know, what can he do? No one wants to see this right when the Vikings are coming back to 500, and he was having a great game, by the way. Kirk Cousins. Tore his Achilles, it looks like. It hasn't been finalized, but it looks like Kirk Cousins will miss the remainder of the season, and maybe the last time you see him in a Vikings uniform as his guaranteed contract ends this year. So what does that mean? Well, they don't have a backup. They don't have any backup plan. This ruins Justin Jefferson. This ruins Jordan Addison. The running back situation has been interesting. Cam Akers was more affected than Alexander Madison yesterday. TJ Hawkinson. It sucks. Right when the Vikings were back to 500 and in a weak NFC, a chance maybe to pull themselves together, Kirk Cousins out for the year with that torn Achilles. I hate to see it. From fantasy purposes, obviously everyone hates to see it because you have investment on this team. Kirk Cousins is one of my quarterbacks. But unfortunately, we don't like that. I'm sorry, Kirk. Feel better, and we'll see what team you're on next year because I don't think the Vikings are going to pay him what he wants. There are some other options out there for him. Tampa Bay would be a good one. The Atlanta Falcons. Ritter got benched for Heineke yesterday. It was a concussion. Yeah, but he was cleared. It was the Deshaun Watson effect all over again. I think the Falcons would be a great spot for Kirk Cousins. And Heavy T's not here to defend that, but I think it'd be fantastic. So we'll see what happens. But ultimately, Kirk Cousins out for the year. And it sucks to see. Levis, you a question. And this is more of me taking it in and telling you that I was right. The dude can play football. He can throw the football. He had zero talent around him in college. And I've been saying the whole time, Will Levis is the most talented quarterback on this Tennessee Oilers team. Will Levis is now a Tennessee Oilers legend. It's crazy. But Will Levis, great game, 4 touchdowns. Opening up DeAndre Hopkins like it was 5 years ago. I like it. He's obviously going to probably start Thursday night. Tannehill's out. If Tannehill comes back healthy and Vrabel plays Tannehill over Levis now after what we saw, you have to question Vrabel because Levis looked like the real deal. It was almost similar to like a Justin Herbert, right? He didn't start the season. It was Tyrod Taylor. Some weird injury injection hurt his liver or lung, and Tyrod Taylor, Justin Herbert had to start. And next thing you know, we've never looked back, and Justin Herbert's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. This could be a very, very similar situation. You had Tannehill. Remember, this is a guy who's been not even active, Will Levis, with Malik Willis, who we can see what Malik Willis can do. Hold the ball for way too long and get sacked. I think Willis has more sacks than completions even attempts this year. Will Levis went 19 of 29 for 238 and 4 touchdowns. Also had 7 rushes for 11 yards, but still, look at this line from the receiving of the Titans. 4 for 128 and 3. Westbrook Akine had a 33-yard bomb for a touchdown. He opened up the passing game for a Tennessee Titans that's never had an open passing game. That's why A.J. Brown wanted to leave. Well, here you are. Will Levis is the answer to Levis, you a question. I like him. I'm not saying start him in fantasy on Thursday, but you may want to pick him up, maybe for a bye week. He does have Hopkins. He has Henry. Tajay Spears. With his arm strength and his deep ball approach, we could be looking at the next Justin Herbert. Just saying. Don't get crazy, my fellow ranters. Just saying. And that brings me to what I've learned from week 8 of the NFL. Here's what I've learned. There is no good team in the NFL. There's not. I could probably ask 10 people right now who the best team in the NFL and may get 8 different answers. The 49ers are 0 for the last 3. The Chiefs lost to Denver. I know, Edward, but Patrick Mahomes had the flu. No. There's no reason the Chiefs should have lost that game. It's embarrassing. You know what's the biggest winning streak, the longest winning streak in the NFL right now? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the biggest thing I've learned from watching football yesterday is that there is no true, this is the team to beat to win the Super Bowl anymore. It's wide open. All you got to do is make the playoffs and anything can happen in the playoffs. We thought it was the Dolphins. No, we thought it was the Bills. No, we thought it was the Chiefs. We thought it was the 49ers. The Eagles struggled with the Commanders. And the Eagles haven't been blowing people out either. Dallas looked good yesterday, but then they have stinkers as well. There's no dominant team. The era of the dominant team in the NFL is over. I love it. It's parody. It's great. I can't tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl. I thought I knew. Everyone thought they knew, right? That's either the Chiefs or the Bills. Cincinnati's now playing great. Everyone's healthy. Who knows? We're going to have Thomas Stevens on, and we're going to talk about re-ranking the NFL. Now that we've seen what we know, and talk about some of these teams and see where they rank now. It's going to be interesting to see what his thought or his take, because my take is going to be way different. I'm higher on some teams that I was not higher on in the beginning of the season just by watching what's happening on the field. The Ravens are one of them. I'm now back on the Cincinnati bandwagon. And the Chargers, you got to admit, they didn't charge you last night. I literally expect them to lose that game because that's what the Chargers do. They don't beat the teams they're supposed to beat. Not only did they beat the team they're supposed to beat, they beat them handily. And really, all their losses are within, besides the Chiefs, their other losses are all within one score. So they could easily be up there if they just sneak into the playoffs somehow. There you go. Who is the best team? I have no idea. So we'll talk about Tom Stevens with that. What I've learned is never underestimate the underestimation. I was high on CJ Stroud. I was high on this Texans team, actually, being a lot better than they were last year. They always have been. But I did not expect the Panthers to pull that one off. Now, it wasn't a barn burner. It was a low and slow game. 15-13. Bryce Young. Kudos to Bryce Young. Hasn't looked the part as an number one pick, but he was able to win the battle of number 1 versus number 2 in the NFL draft. I still think CJ Stroud will be the better quarterback in the end. But shout out to Bryce Young just for, all this, he doesn't look ready, or CJ Stroud is better than him, but coming out there at home and doing what he needed to do at the end of the game where it mattered most to beat the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud. I still give them one more game, maybe win, maybe. But I do expect them to be up there in the 1 or 2 pick, which goes to the Bears anyways. But this team is just not ready to be an NFL playoff team, and they won't be for some time. So shout out to that, though. Philadelphia was something, right? The Commanders, the Eagles, A.J. Brown doing his thing, 8 for 130, got his 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith got involved too, but still struggling against the Commanders' offense. Sam Howell was the leading quarterback of the day. 397 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, which was about right for Sam Howell. But the one thing that I saw was this is a team in the Commanders who has given up 40 sacks in 7 weeks. A team that was on pace to almost get 100 sacks, crushing David Carr's record as a Texan. 1 sack for the Philadelphia defense. 1. They let Howell throw the ball. They couldn't get to him. Now, a lot of scrutiny on Sam Howell. But I'll tell you this. Here's what I learned. If they could rebuild that offensive line, get some good quality offensive linemen in there who's not getting hit every other throw, the dude can throw. The dude can play football at the NFL level. Sam Howell is an NFL quarterback. He makes great throws, good decisions. He just needs the time to do it. You could rebuild around him. He could be a franchise quarterback. So that's what I learned yesterday. Looks like the Joshua Dobbs era is over in Arizona. Now, respectable Joshua Dobbs filling in for a team we all thought would be the number 1 pick. Right? In the Arizona Cardinals. But they've been playing, I know they're 1-7, but they're playing their opponents hard. They lost 31-24 against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But again, playing tough, 1-score game. But Josh Dobbs will no longer be the quarterback because Kyler Murray is not coming back either. That's right. It was announced today that Clayton Tune will start for the Cardinals until Kyler is ready. I give it 1 week. But get your Kyler Murray pickups or get him ready to go because in a couple weeks he's going to be rolling. And I kind of like what this. By the way, Trey McBride is the real deal. He's going to be a top 5 tight end in the NFL. 10 receptions, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Only 2,800 on DraftKings was a steal for me in my double ups. I won them all. Shout to Fantasy Alarm for that one. And my boy, Andrew Cooper. They were on it, as always. So we got Clayton Tune, and then finally, Kyler Murray shall return for the Cardinals. And more on the Niners later when I do Case of the Mondays, because we all saw that. We all witnessed it. McCaffrey's keeping the touchdown streak going, but there's another streak going wrong, and that's losing. And Purdy, now he did throw for 365 yards without Deebo Samuel in the lineup. So it wasn't like he was struggling. He just turns the ball over at inopportune times now. That's his biggest problem. Has been turnovers the last 3 weeks, which wasn't never a problem for Purdy since last year. So, good coach. I don't think it's a situation. Now, I know they got Sam Darnold on behind him, but you want to talk about turnovers. Have you met Sam Darnold? So, I think you still stick with Purdy, but just change up the play calling a little bit and maybe to get something going there. And getting Deebo back will definitely help. The only thing I'm mad about, before I go to break, my boy Juwan Jennings' streak of over on longest reception finally came to an end. That's right. Monday Night Rants, we've been hitting Juwan Jennings over on longest reception for every week since week 1. However, even though Purdy threw for 365 yards. McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, and Ray McLeod. Killing our Juwan Jennings love and streak here on Monday Night Rants. All right. We're going to go to a break here if I can figure out how to do it. And when we come back, we're going to have Thomas Stevens joining me for Rants on the Street. And then we're going to talk about re-ranking the NFL teams after what we've seen through 8 weeks. It is still 3-0 Arizona. It is now 9-0. So shout out to all you Riley Patterson owners out there for the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry, 9-7. Wow. We're having some fun here. I forgot a touchdown. The touchdown was a Josh Jacobs run. So shout out to Josh Jacobs owners. He got a touchdown. So it's 9-7. A minute 34 left in the second quarter. About to go to halftime here. The Lions are driving around midfield, though, to try to put some more points on the board before we call it a evening. So I'll get Thomas Stevens in here. Again, no Tyler Soto tonight. No heavy tea. So I'm doing the best I can here on Halloween to make this scary. After the break, Rants on the Street, Thomas Stevens.
I like to eat my feelings. So when I'm like super sad, you know, single serving pint sizes of Ben and Jerry's, I just start shoveling that in, and it makes me feel bigger and better. But so let's eat our feelings here. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk football players, food. We're gonna pair them up. Who is represented by what food? All right, I want to just shout out Hal Alexander in there for CMC. Christian McCaffrey is Rocky Road ice cream. A little bit of everything.
Yeah,
does it?
Good Hal.
I like it, man. You know it. I love me some Rocky Road ice cream. Bijan Robinson prime rib. You know what? Bijan Robinson prime rib with a baked potato and some cream spinach on the side. That's what I'm talking about. That is the King's dinner. And Bijan Robinson, I don't care if the dude from The Athletic says only 301, touches. You know what? In honor of Card Sharks, I'm going to say, guys, that I think that number is going to be a little bit higher there for Bijan Robinson. So get your knife, get your fork, you got your steak, you got your Bijan.
Yeah, that's what's up. You're on death row, and they say you get one last meal, and you just say Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I'm totally down with that. Love it.
I got to jump in on one real quick because Mr. Scamper said Kareem Hunt is candy corn, and I actually had a player, Tyler Boyd, was going to be candy corn for me, and basically it's that nobody likes it, but it's always there. It's always there, and somebody always puts their hand in and grabs some and has some, and they're like, well, and afterwards they're like, why did I eat that? That's Tyler Boyd. He always gets drafted, and he's just kind of there, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why they take him. Nobody knows where it comes from. Where does the candy corn even come from? Like, it's just there. It's just there.
From the Hometown Hero series, Zach Parise.
That is a very nice card, and that's one I'm probably have to organize a little trade ski with you, because I would actually like that card.
You got downtown Newark in the background. I mean, Newark has never looked so good.
No, it is not.
We'll put that back up on the screen. I just want to have a penny sleeve ready, and yes, we can absolutely work out a little trade ski for that, because that belongs in a Devil fans collection right there.
I'll trade you the Braden Schneider rookie card for it.
Done.
There we go. The first card for card trade on Rip and Rip history. And it was that easy.
It was that easy. That's because, you know what? Because neither one of us are jerks. And it's the same thing when we try and do fantasy trades. Like, we don't try and screw each other. We have conversations. If there's a fit, there's a fit. If it's not, it's not. We don't try and, like, take the other one over the barrel. So there you go. In a penny sleeve. Hometown hero, Zach Parise. He was among the league's most productive goal scorers in 06-07 and followed up with a terrific regular season with an even more impressive postseason. And then they talk about what he did in the first round series against Tampa Bay that year. So that's off to the side for you.
That's true. And, if this is it for his career, he had a hell of a career.
He did.
Hopefully he comes back one more year with the Islanders, but if he doesn't, hell of a run.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome back to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. We're going to have Thomas Stevens here joining me for Rants on the Street. Look at him, all festive as well.
I love the
Halloween spirit. Yeah, I'm a Ninja Turtle.
Yes, sir.
Michelangelo.
Nice,
I like pizza, and I like saying the word tubular.
One of the most goated movies of all time.
Yeah. Great. By the way, the one that came out this year, the Seth Rogen one, I took my daughter. She loved it. I loved it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I low-key don't want to. I don't want it to ruin like what I have in my head,
Oh, it's one of the best Ninja Turtles movies ever made.
Really?
If not yeah.
Really? Okay.
Obviously, the show from the 90s was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
But as far as movies,
I gotta watch it then.
It was really good. Josh needs Jacoby Myers to get one target here, or just some targets here. Look at that. You like the Halloween festive font we got here? Isn't this fun? Look at that. Show him as one more target, dude. Poor Josh. He needs 13 points. I think he's in our Guillotine League, which he could be talking about here. So let's go over this. I've been saving this for later because I want to surprise everybody. And this could be the greatest thing ever in the history of this show. Is currently right now in the Guillotine League. Do you know who's losing?
Who's out this week?
It looks like it's going to be our own Heavy T. He's currently at 86.08, and he needs a lot to happen.
High scoring week though for 86.8 to go.
It is. He needs 20 more points. Get this from Josh Reynolds. So now there was just a touchdown thrown here to Sam Laporta, 6 for 44, and that's what happened because he was actually only 5 points behind Matt Sells. But Matt Sells got the Laporta touchdown right now, pretty much taking Heavy T out. Now there won't be a eulogy tonight for Heavy T, and here's why: because I have to write his eulogy. That's the rules. When he went out, I have to write his eulogy. The best part is next week on the show, he lost a bet to me earlier where I took in the Red River rivalry, I took Oklahoma and he lost a bet. He is going to be dressed up like a pickle as I read him his eulogy. So stay tuned next week, my fellow ranters. It's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, shout out to Matt Deutsch too, who is with me on the Levis. This font is great. It's so festive. I love it.
Always fade popular opinion. I like that.
That's what I say here on the show. I say that more than anything. That's how I win a lot of bets going against people. Before we go on there, I know you're running out of time here, but I do want to ask you about the game tonight, the Lakers game. I gave out some best bets earlier. It's about to start here in about an hour.
Yeah.
Now the public is all over the Lakers. Orlando, the Magic, started off really, really strong this year. 2-0. And remember, we were joking that they would give the Charlotte Bobcats a run for their money for worst record in the NBA. But the spread is unbelievably crazy. -2. It's -3 now. So it moved a half since I started talking, but still at -3. I'm kind of, especially after the game last night where the Lakers should have won. Fox looks like he's hurt a little bit. Sabonis fouls out. And just, they let Sacramento light the beam.
Yeah, for sure.
Only Rui's out tonight. So they're all back on the back-to-back. So there's no injuries. So -3 to me was too good to be true. About 67% of the public. This kind of has the feeling of one of those games. And I'm also taking the under of 219.5 too. Also one of those games that, like, by the third quarter, it's bench time. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you feel about it tonight? How do you feel about your Lakers?
I think the biggest factor for me is the back-to-back. I think the back-to-back kills it. And it's not only just a back-to-back, it's back-to-back after an overtime, So LeBron James is 38. Anthony Davis. I like the under. Thank you. I like the under a lot. I think the under is the hammer play here. I think that the Magic, obviously, I know they got out to a hot start, but they're not the best team in the league.
No.
We when we do play defense can be a good solid defensive team. The Magic also score a lot in the paint. That's not easy to do against us. So for us, I think we can score points, but the back-to-back will hurt us. So I do like the +3 on the Magic. I think that's interesting. Like, Matt Deutsch just said, go against the public. So I do like that. But if I'm going to put something down, I think your value is in the under. What's the under at again?
19.5.
Yeah. And what's the spread?
It's 3. It's 3 now. It was 2.5. So
yeah.
I'm taking the Lakers win, but under the points. I have a feeling an angry Lakers team tonight at home. The season hasn't started off the way that they would like.
Mm-hmm.
I just against a team they should beat. They're gonna go all like what the Chargers did last night in the NFL, doing it on the court tonight.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm going with it, and
No, I mean I like it. I think it's the easy answer for sure. I just my thing about this team is shooting. And that's how it's been about 4 years now. Is shooting, and so my problem with the Lakers right now is I need to see somebody else besides Taurean Prince consistently make an outside jumper, and that's crazy to say.
And that's not going to last.
My name is Taurean Prince. I just named
not going to last.
Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the under, but the spread should hit. I mean, let's be real, right? Lakers Magic, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, let's jump into Rants on the Street here. I know you got 5 questions. We didn't do it last week because we had our NBA preview.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see what we got tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's all over the board now because remember,
it is actually all over the board.
Happy sports equinox, everybody.
Yeah.
NBA, NHL, NFL,
Yep.
MLB World Series, and even the MLS tonight.
Great day to make money.
It's the sports equinox the day before Halloween Eve. So let's get to Rants on the Street. Let me give you a cheer.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Number one, dude, we're starting off something that we usually never talk about, college football. And I don't know if you saw it, but this is going to be a hilarious question because for me, it's a very easy question, but I'll let you answer as an Oregon Ducks fan. What's going on with USC, man? What's wrong with USC? What's wrong with the team, coaching? What do you see?
How much time you got? First of all, they're still ranked in the top 25. Stop it! 49 points to Cal?
Mm-hmm.
You barely beat Cal.
Yep.
50-49. You're still in the top 25. Thank God the college football rankings are coming out tomorrow because they are not going to be in them.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that right now. USC will not be in the top 25 of the rankings that matter tomorrow. There's no way in hell. And if they are, I will chug a pint of mayonnaise next week on this show.
Live.
Just as Heavy T is wearing his pickle outfit and getting a eulogy from me. What's going on here? This is like old Nickelodeon.
We are entertaining.
Double Dare. First of all, their defensive coordinator is trash.
Mm-hmm.
I think he came from Oklahoma. Oklahoma's defense was terrible when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he also coached Ohio State, and like for 1 year where their defense was terrible. Their defense is just terrible.
Yeah.
They don't know how to scheme anything. If you can't scheme Cal or Colorado, if they let Colorado come back on them.
Yep.
I mean,
every team. I mean, seriously.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Like this is a problem, right? And they have Oregon in 2 weeks in Eugene. I think they're going to get absolutely smoked. Like Colorado, Oregon status. Well, Oregon's been smoking everyone except for Washington, and they shot themselves in the foot in that game, right? With the 4th downs not converting and the missed field goal, and obviously, and by the way, Washington looks broke too ever since that game. They're still winning, but not like they were. More on that later when I talk about the rankings, but USC just sucks, man. Like, let's be real. Like, Caleb Williams is good, right? I still think he's a good player. They did lose Jordan Addison to the NFL. Their running game has been very hit or miss, but it's all on the back. The entire team with no defense is all on the back of Caleb Williams, and
Mhm.
defenses know that now. And you have tape now, right?
Yeah.
You have tape of this offense. You have tape of this defense to say, here's how we could exploit them. Every single team has exploited the defense, no matter who they are. That's a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
So
No, yeah, 100%, man. I agree with you 100%. It's real simple. It's exactly what you said. It's Caleb Williams and nobody else. You know, they have good offensive pieces. That I've seen. There's a lot of explosive players on their offense, and that's one of the reasons, you know, obviously Caleb Williams, but they do score 40 points per game. Their offense is not a problem at all. And if they had even the slightest of a defense, they would be a solid team. But they, I mean, like,
although Washington.
yeah, legit. Yeah. You know, I went to the USC game the other day, last week against Utah, man. And it was,
I'm sorry.
yeah, legit. It was off. I have not been to a USC game in a long time. I'm a fan. I was excited, and I don't know what I saw. I don't know what I watched. There's not one playmaker, in my opinion, on that defense. Not one. The penalties are through the roof. They are completely, you know, just they're not structured well. The coaching is just awful, which leads to penalties. I feel bad for Caleb Williams, man. I do. If I'm USC and if I'm Caleb Williams, shut him down. Why do you need to play?
Lincoln Riley's a fraud.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley.
How many Heisman hopeful quarterbacks has he had at Oklahoma or on his roster, and how many times has he actually won? Like,
yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. And another big thing with, you know, Lincoln Riley with me is this is kind of interesting, and me and my friend were talking about this. When I watch USC play, it reminds me a lot like Buffalo. You know, it's like there is not a lot of like Lincoln Riley drew up a great play. Here's the first read, throw here. It'll be wide open because Lincoln Riley knows. No, it's Caleb Williams looks for Lincoln Riley's, you know, route or whatever it was drawn up for. It's not open, so Caleb Williams extends it for 15 more yards or runs or throws 40 yards. And, you know, so Lincoln Riley, man, and USC was chanting it. So, you know, Lincoln Riley needs to start getting looked at a little more harshly than he does, 100%.
Remember last year, they actually had a chance to go to the college football playoffs, and they blew it. Not only that, they got blown out in their bowl game as well.
Yep,
so
yep. Nobody expected Utah. They walked in there. The painted fingernails, all this fun and game stuff until you get punched in the mouth, man. Seriously. And I can't stand it, dude. I can't stand it.
Please don't paint your fingernails, Thomas. Please don't.
Okay. I was thinking about going to UCLA for a while because I've seen that, but I got over it. On to number 2. Once again, kind of a simple question, man. You know, what's next for the Vikings?
Oh, I actually talked about this in my
I did
rant lines earlier. Really not a lot. I'll be honest with you.
Not much you could
I
do.
don't think Kirk Cousins is coming back next year to the Vikings. They're not going to pay him what he demands. I really think the Falcons would be a good spot for Kirk Cousins next year. And imagine Kyle Pitts and Drake London and with Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean?
That's actually really interesting, man.
Yeah, because obviously Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
And they're 500 now, so they can't really tank. I mean, they could trade up for a quarterback. They don't have a good quarterback room after Kirk Cousins. I mean,
I don't even know who their backup is. Is it somebody that's like?
Yeah, it was a rookie.
You know him? Oh, it's a rookie, huh?
Yeah, I mean he came in. I'm sure he'll start this week, maybe.
Who would you like? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay. Let's get this out of the way. I saw all day people saying Tom Brady should come out of retirement. That dude is on a yacht with models. Eating avocado ice cream.
Yep.
It's Jaron Hall, but they also have Nick Mullins, who will be coming off the IR at the end of next week. So Jaron Hall would probably give him one more week.
Yeah.
He's the quarterback
how he does, but
out of BYU, by the way, Jaron Hall. We know how well BYU quarterbacks do in the NFL. Not named Steve Young, but it's a Zach Wilson dig. Everybody, come on. But Nick Mullins probably in 2 weeks They could look at somebody else, maybe. An interesting thing I actually heard today is maybe trading for Trey Lance.
That's
taking a chance because he's obviously not going to be able to start for Dallas. Could probably get something for him.
There's no restriction with that, right? Because he had just been trying. No, I know not just been traded, but no.
Ask Brandon Cooks. There's no restriction to that.
yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Trey Lance is interesting.
From a fantasy purpose, your TJ Hawkinson shares do they rush Jefferson back now? Do they not?
No. No.
Addison shares, like all this, it just ruins it. Like it just sucks. But yeah, it sucks. I don't remember Kirk Cousins ever being hurt. I think he's been one of those Ironman quarterback for a long time.
Yeah, he has. And Achilles is always horrible, man. I always hate to see Achilles.
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah, no, one thing I agree with everything you said, so I'm not even going to touch on that. I really want to see what happens with Jefferson. I think that's a huge thing. Not only with him, I don't know, hot take or I don't know, whatever it is, but not only with him coming back this season, but I don't know if he's going to want to become a full rebuild, man. Minnesota can really, really bounce back quick. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. So if they go get a quarterback, then and they guarantee that this is what we're going to do. We're going to go get, someone solid of those, realm of top 4 or whatever it is. Then I think he stays. But I think that it's very careful, man. I think it's very careful. I think Minnesota has not been a good franchise. They've failed a lot. They've let people go. Their defense just got atrocious out of nowhere. I know people got old or whatever, but they were solid, and they're just horrible.
They let people go out of the defense as well. Kendricks.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, too, age for sure. But I'm not sold on the Vikings as an organization, and I'm really, really interested to see, because they can either go this way, man, which is right back to success, or they can take a couple more years, because this is the draft where you need that one position, you go get that one position. But like you said, too, defense is such a big miss that it's like, man, we go get a quarterback, and then we miss out on all the first round players, in the defense, and then we also give stuff up to trade up. And so it's really interesting.
They're going to save a lot of money with Cousins.
Yeah. When he leaves, they will have a lot. Free agents are like nothing in the NFL. Is there any free agent quarterback at all? Like nothing. I would have said it'd be interested, actually, because I like this guy, man. Gardner Minshew. If Anthony Richardson was starting, but because of what happened to Anthony Richardson, so
yeah, we'll see what happens, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's true. And I feel bad for anybody who has TJ Hawkinson, man. He was just starting to just go like this, and then boom. So.
Yeah, thank you for that. That would be me.
Sorry. Sorry. I feel for you, brother. I feel for you.
Okay.
Number 3, this one pains me to even talk about this, but are the Jacksonville Jaguars serious contenders?
Well, I also talked about that earlier on the show. They currently have the longest winning streak in the NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are. I mean, they are. Their defense is playing at a great level. And remember, this is a team that has to deal with that weird London back-to-back 2 games.
And they handled it well. They won both of them.
Yeah, so and that's tough, and still figuring out. I love Peterson's coach. I think Trevor Lawrence is great. Etienne's playing great. He got a little banged up yesterday. We'll see how that pans out, but it's a good team, man. Like all around. And from what I'm seeing, if I had to re-rank right now, I mean, obviously, I think they're going to win the South easily. Yeah, they can do wonders. And you just got to hope that Patrick Mahomes has the flu in the playoffs, and they should be good. But I like them. I think they are contenders.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I think that with discipline and with being a playoff football team and Trevor Lawrence continuing to develop, this could be the best offense in the league, no doubt. I mean, there is 100%. There is just weapons. I mean, everywhere. Yesterday when I was watching that game, if it wasn't Evan Ingram, it was Christian Kirk. If it wasn't Christian Kirk, it was Calvin Ridley. And if it wasn't Calvin Ridley, it was Travis Etienne, which has been the big dog for them for 4
Zay
weeks.
Jones is not even healthy. Imagine when he comes.
Zay Jones wasn't even there. Exactly. So, for me, it's all about discipline. It's all about, can you go into Arrowhead and be a more disciplined team? Can you get less penalties? Can you cause those turnovers? Can you sack the quarterback? Those little things that Andy Reid preaches, and why Kansas City, obviously besides Mahomes, is so good. And that's one of the things also I want to shout this out, that Cincinnati does very well in the playoffs. They tune it up. They really start to fix everything towards the late season at a perfect time, very disciplined, and so I think that's the only thing that holds Jacksonville back besides the pass defense. Their pass defense is not good. Yesterday, there was even flashes where you saw when obviously Kenny Pickett was healthy. Kenny Pickett was healthy. where they destroyed the corners. George Pickens was down the field. There was open plays, just missed throws, whatever it was. And that's against a very bad offense, especially in the first 3 quarters. So I'm worried to see about the defense. I want to see what the defense can do, but with that offense, really sky's the limit. And Doug Peterson is a great coach. It's going to be interesting. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Real quick before we go to the next one, how do you feel about Deontay Johnson coming out and saying the refs blew the game, and it was just a really awkward, weird interview?
Yeah. I don't know. I think look, like there was 2 calls that were absolutely absurd to me. Absolutely absurd, and it needs to be looked at, in my opinion. One that, like Tomlin said, he hasn't seen in 17 whatever years it was of coaching. That offsides on our offensive guard on a field goal kick is beyond me. That is absolutely wild. And then the second one, my 140-pound, 160-pound corner lands on Trevor Lawrence's perfect hair, and it is a roughing the passer. A 260-pound
It is good hair. It is good hair.
It is good hair. A 260-pound linebacker slams my quarterback into the ground and fractures his ribs, whatever the hell goes on, and completely lands on not just his bottom, but his top. And there's no call. And then, we missed the field goal, blah, 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 blah. But with that all said, there was chances. There was chances to score. Deontay wants to talk about the refs. How about we talk about the first play of the game dropping a possible touchdown? That was a possible touchdown. That's
been his biggest thing his entire career. Yep, he has a case of the dropsies.
So, and I think the defense is played great. And I think that's what happens every week is, unless we score some points, our defense tires out, man. Your defense is out there the, entire game. So I think there's many things to point at besides the refs, but there was some crazy calls that need to be looked at for sure. That was absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things being talked about is the refereeing this year in the NFL and how bad it's been.
Definitely felt a little Jags money line from 3 of the refs. I'll just say from 3 of the refs, 1 in particular, but 3.
We have a player down here for the Raiders. It looks like, and everyone's on their knee. And I know Garoppolo just got sacked, so I'm hoping it's not him. But it went to commercial break, so breaking news when we get back from that. But let's go on to the next question in the meantime.
Yeah, number 4, we're gonna go switch all the way to the NBA. I know you're gonna love this question. I know you're gonna be quick with this question too. Are the Nuggets too good for everyone?
They're pretty damn good. I mean, a lot can still happen, right? Injuries. Oh, it looks like it was Khalif Raymond who's down on the field. Injuries can happen at any given moment. You never know. But that's like I say with fantasy too, when you're drafting, don't give a shit about injuries until they happen, right? Just draft the players as the best players because injuries can be fluke. There's some players where it's, like Mike Williams, where it's guaranteed one every year. But for the most part, this is a very healthy team. And so I'm taking that aside. They are. I mean, I said Milwaukee would get off to a slow start, but they've actually looked good as well. And they're up by 25 right now over the Miami Heat. So they'll be 2-1, right? Yeah. But yeah, Denver, man, they just look like
the same as
there wasn't even an off season. It looks like they just played the NBA final game last week, and then they're still playing. But sure. We've been talking about that, right? There's been no turnaround. How dominant they were in the playoffs last year, and here we are with the same team, and they're starting out the year dominant. Like they're gonna have the number 1 seed. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, I just think it's theirs to lose. I have them going up against Milwaukee because I wanted to be different in the NBA Finals. Yeah. I think those 2 teams will match up in the NBA Finals, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's back to back. And the MVP goes to the Joker this year as well.
Rightfully so. This should be the 3rd year in a row. This should be the 3rd year.
Although we say they're beating Utah right now.
Look, like when I watch Denver, man, it's beautiful. It is beautiful basketball. It is everyone is involved. Plays exactly. Yeah. Everyone's involved. There's perfect defense. Even the fans are they're energetic. It's a loud place to play. The altitude, all these things goes in Denver's way, man, to win another chip. I think The only two teams that I have seen that can really match this team is Milwaukee because of two big men in Brook Lopez and Giannis matching up with Jokic, whatever it is, and then offensive firepower. You have to have offensive firepower against this team. And then the Celtics. I think a healthy Celtics can match up with this team once again because of the firepower. I think the firepower is the only reason if they were to be healthy.
Oh, they're 3-0. They're off to a good start, the Celtics, but
Yeah.
I'm still watching them in their first 3 games. I didn't get a chance to watch the end of the game tonight because I was getting ready for the show, but
absolute blowout.
Yeah, but I'm a little worried about their bench a little bit.
I am too. I
in
am
Boston.
too. I saw a stat today that they have this most points by the starting lineup, 106 or whatever it is, and then their bench is, worse than the league.
Even today in a blowout game where the bench had to come in.
Yeah.
Tatum Brown 33-36, Porzingis 15, Holiday 11, Horford with 8, and then you have Stevens with 5, Banton with 2, Hauser with 8, Pritchard with 0, but 7 rebounds and 6 assists. That's kind of impressive, actually. And then Mahalik with 3. That's not good, and that's not sustainable in a full season or in the playoffs.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I mean, if you really think about it, right? It's like obviously Drew Holiday, not knock on wood, don't want to jinx the guy, but he's not really injury prone. I'm not even talking about JT and Jaylen Brown, but one injury to Porzingis. Who fills in for Porzingis? I mean, you know what I mean? You don't have backups. You legit don't have backups.
It would probably be Michalek, right?
Yeah, I mean, geez.
And that's not saying much, but yeah.
It starts to get real ugly. And
or Sam Hauser. Can't forget about Sam Hauser.
Yeah. Peyton Pritchard is pretty much the only person off their bench that I like. It's the only person off their bench that I like is Peyton Pritchard.
It's not good.
He's a little, and he's not even that good. So
well,
it's
they
scary.
Have Derek White.
Does Derek? Yeah, he's well. Derek White gets starter minutes, so I'm not considering that 6-man role, whatever it is, because I feel like at the end of the day he gets more than Al Horford.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried about that.
But it's too another thing with Boston. I was gonna say they can make moves and maybe get some bench players, but it's you have nothing to trade.
They're out of everything. Yeah,
you have absolutely
not right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that a pick 6? Did we just have a pick 6? We sure did. Marcus Peters intercepted Jared Goff's 75-yard touchdown.
I know
Raiders.
He's
16
screaming right now.
14. Oh yeah. Here we go. All right, we got one more question left.
Sir, yes, sir.
right.
Number 5. I like this one. Can De'Aaron Fox win an MVP award this year?
No.
Yeah.
Only because of Joker and
Luka,
listen, I love Fox's game. He looks a little hurt. He was limping off after the game last night and didn't look healthy, so that's a little worrisome. I think he's one of the best players in the NBA that no one talks about. I think he's the best player on the Kings, not Sabonis.
He is. He is, for sure.
I just don't think he's quite putting up the MVP type levels of stats to win. He's good defensively too, which is surprising. But he's actually good defensively, so he's a little bit of a two-way, not as much as a Paul George or like that. But he just doesn't have quite the stats to get to the MVP level. I don't think he ever will, but he's going to be one of those great players in the NBA for a long time. That is always up there in All-Star games conversation.
Yeah.
But it's just when you have the Joker, when you have Doncic, when you have all these other players, it's really tough to win an MVP award.
Yeah, for sure.
But I love his game. I always have.
He's a baller.
I was a little worried when he first came in. He was a little slow off the gates. His first 2 years were kind of like, okay.
His jumper was questionable.
His second year, he fixed it a little bit, and now he's playing at an all-star level. And like I thought he could. And I like his game, and I like what they're doing there in Sacramento. And they're going to be young and good for a while, but I don't see an MVP.
I agree. I think there's one reason for me, and that's because of a man named Nikola Jokic. I'm going to be honest. I don't see really anybody winning this award. I know they can't just, continuously give it to him, but I mean, if Denver continues to be Denver, right, that checks off the team category. Boom, done. Your team's the first seed, team's the second seed, whatever it is. Then your individual categories, you're averaging a triple-double. I mean, you're unbeatable, and no one could guard you. You're the slowest guy in the league, but yet somehow you're the quickest, and you're this genius and stepping off one leg. And it would take the Sacramento Kings to have to be the first seed. 100%. And De'Aaron Fox is the leader of why they're the first seed for De'Aaron Fox to win MVP. That is the only way De'Aaron Fox can win MVP. And I swear to God, man, without De'Aaron Fox, I don't see anybody. Last year, I don't think Embiid deserved that award. I think they did it because they know they cannot continuously give it to Jokic. And so the award is going to be dominated by this man as long as they keep that core together in Denver.
100%. And I could see, shall we say, 90s Bulls type comparison of how many champions?
Man, it's harder to keep people together nowadays, because people get so much more money and stuff. But the team is great. I mean, it's so good. They have their sharpshooter. They have their 3-and-D. They have their Aaron Gordon slashing, defending, rebounding, Jokic, the all-star, Jamal, the little, not Braun, but, D Wade, it's that one step down. And it's just, it works. And the coach, Mike Malone, he's a great coach. He talks quietly. He backs up his teammates or, his team. And, the organization did a great job, man. I thought they were going to lose a lot more than Bruce Brown, and they didn't. So
bye-bye.
See you later. You are. And I want to give you props too, dude. The Christian Braun, that plug-in piece, you were big on that, and he has plugged in absolutely perfectly. I mean, absolutely perfectly for that team. So
that's right.
90s Bulls. It's crazy to even say that nowadays, but you never know, dude. I mean, you never know.
Well, the Warriors got close. If they didn't lose that series in 7 to LeBron and Cleveland, they'd be up there. But yeah, it could be a three-peat here.
No, yeah, for sure. And like the major difference between, the Warriors and Denver is obviously Denver does have a, decent sized payroll, but the Warriors, I mean, it was way more. It was 4 all-stars, you know what I mean? So you couldn't keep that together because of the payroll. You might be able to keep this together. I mean, seriously, like it's 2 all-stars and role players.
Really good role players.
Really good role players. And if you can keep them on this wagon, no one's going to want to leave. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron Gordon wants to leave, and he's like,
no, hell no. He's not getting this value right here that he's getting out of his career is
he's a top of the line role player too. Like exactly. It's like, so yeah, no, I love it.
For sure, man.
All right, man. Well, I know you got to get on going. You're already dressed up. Got to go see some of your people and have a nice little Halloween Eve get together. Yeah. I got to finish the show. We'll see how long I go. I don't know. No heavy tea.
I'll be watching for about 30.
I'm going to talk some college football and some rankings and some NFL stuff and do my case of the Mondays and then go into my merry way tonight. So we'll have some fun. Well, thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week. It's going to be fun because Heavy T will be dressed as a pickle. And he'll have a eulogy as well. So enjoy your night. Enjoy your Halloween. Give love to your family from me, man. I will. Love everyone over there.
Back at you.
We'll talk to you next week, my friend.
All right. Later, man.
Later. Thomas Stevens rants on the street. Always, and I mean always good there. What he brings to the table. All the questions you could ask, by the way, it's at Better Thomas on Instagram, at Better Network. But what I got to tell you is this. Oh. Final Fantasy. Right. Deposit match up to $200. And your first bingo card, we talked about bingo earlier, is free at joinrival.com/alarm. That's right. Play bingo with me. Play bingo with your friends. I have bingo cards, not just for NBA, not just for the Monday Night Football game, but also baseball too. I'm playing bingo all over the place. I won last week as well. I'm going to win this week. And all the money I get for bingo this year goes straight, and I mean straight to charity for the Alzheimer's Foundation. But you don't have to do that. No, you could actually take your bingo money home with you on joinrival.com/alarm. Get your $200 deposit in. Take a quick break. I miss Heavy T so much tonight. I'm going to have to play this real quick because it makes me laugh. When we come back, we're going to be talking some college football. The first college football rankings for playoffs will come out tomorrow. Thank God. 7:00 p.m. Eastern. No more USC in the top 25. I hope. Because I will drink that mayonnaise. After the break, some college football and live check-ins of what's going on tonight. On 2023 Sports Equinox, baby. Boom.
The Bears have to be one of the most inept franchises of any sport I've ever seen in my entire life. And they share the city with the White Sox, who are also inept. Like, that is how bad the Bears are. I just don't understand how you can go your entire existence, and the quarterback that wins you a Super Bowl is Jim McMahon, you couldn't find anybody else.
They don't have a good history with quarterbacks, and they let him be the quarterback for a long time, too.
Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you drafted Mitch Trubisky. They were right there. I there's a lot of pain in being a Falcons fan. The Bears are one of the teams I could argue they might have it worse, and they have a Super Bowl. And when the best quarterback in the past 50 years is Jay Cutler, you have a problem.
That's so funny that you just said that. We were talking about Jay Cutler the other day, me and my friend, and I was like, yeah, he was on, because we were watching the Colorado Rockies game against the Giants, and it looked like he was behind the thing. I was, yeah, well, he played for Denver most of his career. We looked it up. Chicago let him be their starting quarterback way too long.
Here's the thing, too, is that Jay Cutler wasn't bad. Like, he was erratic. He wasn't terrible, though.
The poor man's Brett Favre.
I'm taking him over Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
I would.
But Jay Cutler led that team to an NFC title game that they lost to Green Bay. But he's gotten farther than anybody else. You want to know who the other starting quarterback was for the Bears in the other Super Bowl appearance they made? It was Rex Grossman. What are we doing out here? It was Rex Grossman, and Kyle Orton was the backup. How are you that bad? Bro, oh my God. Listen to the top 5. According to Football Reference, the top 5 greatest Bears quarterbacks of all time. Jay Cutler, number 1.
I can't believe it.
Sid Luckman, who last played in 1950, is number 2. Jim Harbaugh is number 3. Jim McMahon, the Super Bowl winner, is number 4, and he played there for 6 years. And Mitch Trubisky, is number 5 on the list as terms of passing yards go.
All right. Welcome back to Monday Night Rants, the spooky edition. Happy Halloween, my fellow ranters and everyone out there. Thanks for joining me tonight. We are going to talk some college football. We are going to do live look-ins, but I have to do one thing first. I have to, because I don't get to do this ever, because it is the sports equinox. That's right. Every major American sport on at once. Currently right now, Jamar Gibbs, though, is having a game. Could be the real deal. If you held on to him, congratulations. There it is. But I'm going to run down and give you the scores. All the sports going on right now, because it's a beautiful day. It's time for celebration. It is 16-14. The Lions over the Raiders. They have second and goal from the 4. Looking like they're going to maybe get at least a field goal, maybe a touchdown here to extend their lead. That is fantastic. In baseball, it is still 3-0 in the top of the 8th of the third game of the World Series. Texas looks to be in control here in Arizona. Go up 2-1. And then we have basketball, baby. Couple of finals to note. Chicago beat my Pacers. They came back to win at the end. A little disappointed, I'm not going to lie. 112-105. Boston 126-107. Brooklyn dominating the Hornets 133-121. And Atlanta coming back against Minnesota to beat them 127-113. And Portland 99 over Toronto 91. And Scoot Henderson 11-4-7. So Scoot, not as good as a start we would thought. He struggled a little bit, but hey, my Chet Holmgren Rookie of the Year pick is looking really good right now, people. Really, really good. Oklahoma City up 109-92 over the Pistons right now, and Holmgren is 14-4-3. He's outscored and out-rebounded Wemby so far this season. Just say it. I'm just saying. Memphis 106, Dallas 117, and of course Denver, we talked about it. They're up 13 at the half. And we're going to go it because it's the Equinox, baby. It's the Equinox. Hockey, baby. Hockey. Boston beat Florida 3-2 in overtime. Carolina beat Philadelphia 3-2. Anaheim, my mighty Ducks of Anaheim, baby, beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh 4-3, giving the Ducks over 500 for the first time this year. After losing their first 3, they're 5-4. That young team is looking good. Seattle, the Kraken, 4-3, and the Rangers 3 in overtime over Winnipeg at 2. I did it, baby. We did it. The Equinox, all the major sports, all the scores. We'll never be able to do this again for at least a year. It's awesome. It's fantastic. And I love it. Jumping back in, though, I think we went to commercial. I don't think they scored. They did not score. So it's still 2nd and goal, but it looks like we have reached a timeout or a fumble that's recovered by the Raiders, but it's being looked at by the review. So we'll see how that turns out. I will let you know how that goes. What we're going to do here, though, is we are going to talk about college football. I got to make sure I get the right thing here. There it is. Where is it? Hey, look at that. Isn't this cool? It's like I'm on one of those like the Daily Show or something. I got to go this side now. Hey, college football rankings right here. College football rankings right there. There you go. I love it. These should never let me produce on my own. I've come up with some crazy stuff. That is for sure. So tomorrow night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. Again, I'm always really honest with you guys, my fellow ranters. Really, really extremely honest with you. And I got some terrible news. Even though I got the Oregon bet right on Saturday, it's the first week 9 of the college football. The first week I didn't get plus money on my bets. I lost $2. I still did really well. Really well. A lot of my picks have been hitting. We talked about with Heavy T. Obviously, we hit the USC. We hit the Oregon, but we lost. I lost the Florida. I was on Florida. I ended up, negative money, but it's okay. We'll get back to it this week. Can't win them all, but we've been really strong. One thing that's been irking us here is the AP poll can finally just go off in the sunset for the season and how much we hate it. At least Iowa is in it this week. But USC is still in it. 24, and there's no way tomorrow night they will be in the top 25 in the college football playoff rankings. There's no way. So what I'm going to do here is give you my predictions of who I think will be in the top 4 and just off, and kind of who I think is going to be a surprise tomorrow night when it gets released. I do think that Michigan and Georgia are a no-brainer. Now, one can argue that Michigan could be number 1 because they have put teams away at a better rate than Georgia has. Georgia's run into a little bit of issues the last few weeks, not this last week, but I still think they deserve to be the number 1. They are the defending champions. They are undefeated, and they do play in the SEC. So I'm going to put them at 1, Michigan 2. Ohio State, again, a team that hasn't really played, and Michigan, Ohio State is going to determine a lot of this in the end in the game, as it always will. But I'm not really sold on them as a championship contender. I know they're undefeated, but I still have them in my top 4. Florida State is a team I do not have in the top 4. They are in the top 4 in the AP poll, but I think tomorrow night, because of the play, because of the hard play and the rankings and everything from the Pac-12, it's last year, which is crazy, I think Washington will be, from the computer model, and especially after they beat Oregon, and Oregon's crushed everybody, including teams that were previously ranked, that Washington will be in that 4 spot come tomorrow night. I really feel that Washington will be the 4 spot in the college football rankings, with Florida State just on the outside at 5. And then I have Oregon as the only 1-loss team to Washington, or the top 1-loss team, will be at that spot. It's at 6, just on the outside. Oregon, obviously, they have to play USC. They got to play Oregon State. If Oregon runs the table and beats Washington in the Pac-12 championship, Oregon's in the college football championship, or the playoffs, sorry. If Washington wins out, beats Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, they're in the college football playoffs. It's that easy. One of those two, Washington or Oregon, will be in the final 4, no matter what happens on any side, because Michigan and Ohio State has to play each other as well, right? I think if Michigan absolutely goes in there and dominates and destroys Ohio State, which I think they can in the Big House, I think then Ohio State is out, right? I think they're out. even as a one-loss team, because I think either Washington or Oregon as a one-loss team are better than Ohio State. Florida State then can sneak into that 4th spot if that happens. But again, Ohio State has to get blown out. Florida State has a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way, but that's kind of the story of the ACC this year is it's an easy schedule. And if Riley Leonard didn't get hurt at halftime in the Duke game, Duke was up at halftime, and they could have probably pulled off the upset there as well. So as of right now, I have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Washington. I think that's what it's going to be tomorrow night. I really do, with Florida State and Oregon on the outside, and we'll play it out. But I do think those are the best 6 teams in the country, and I think there's a huge gap after those 6 teams. Then you get Texas, Alabama, Penn State, who didn't look good last week after losing to a really boring game against Ohio State. Let's be real. Alabama, they just don't have the team this year. Again, after Oregon, it's a huge drop-off. Then you got Oklahoma, who just had a terrible loss and a terrible upset there. Ole Miss, Notre Dame, LSU, Missouri. If you look at it, one of those 6 schools are going to win the national championship this year. I will put a lot of money on that. That's how it's going to be. So a huge drop off there. I don't think USC will be in the top 24 come tomorrow night, or top 25. I'm sorry, they're 24th right now. I don't think James Madison, who's in the AP pool at 23, will be in the college football playoff rankings tomorrow either. Great story. 8-0 out of the Sun Belt. Again, schedule, right? So we'll see what happens there. A couple teams that got votes that I think could sneak into the BCS over James Madison, over USC, is Oklahoma State, I like. And let's not forget North Carolina. I know they're a 2-loss team, but their 2 losses are good losses, if that makes sense. And a tougher schedule. And when they do beat teams they're supposed to, they do, unlike USC. So shout out to North Carolina and Oklahoma State, who I think could sneak into the top 25 college football rankings tomorrow night. And Fresno State as well could be interesting after they beat the only loss was to Michigan, UNLV team, who gave them all they could on Saturday. And even though Fresno State lost that game to Wyoming, Fresno State could be a team who controls their own destiny, if you will, to get to a good bowl game this year out of the Mountain West, who's surprisingly, the Mountain West has been a really good conference in football, with Wyoming, with Air Force, who's ranked 17th overall right now, undefeated, 8-0. They've already won the Commander's Trophy. That's right. Army, Navy's not for a trophy. It's going to be Air Forces this year. So we'll see what happens. But the Mountain West, surprising this year, could be fun to see Fresno State play Air Force in the Mountain West title game. That could be one of the games of the year, which would be insane. So Utah did drop 5 to 18. They're in a little bit of trouble. I think they'll still be ranked tomorrow night, but I think one more loss, which could happen, especially without Cameron Rising, you could see them on the outside looking in when it comes to the top 25 tomorrow night as well. If it would be surprising. So that's kind of how I have it, how I see it, how it should be. But it's never how it should be, right? Francis Ngannou lost on Saturday, but he won. So there you go. That's my college football predictions for tomorrow night's ranking release. The rankings that actually matter, by the way. The AP poll no longer matters. The college football rankings is what determines who gets into the playoffs at the end of the year, based on computer models and coaches at the same time, but mostly computer, about strength of schedule, stats, away, home, everything. It's more accurate than a coach saying, oh, I think that team looks good. And there you go. So, fun time there. Before I get in the case of the Mondays, we'll probably call it an earlier show tonight, just because I don't have Heavy T, and we can't do What Say Ye, Heavy T. We have no eulogy tonight, even though it's funny that Heavy T is getting kicked out of the Guillotine League tonight. It's pretty much official, which is absolutely insane on its own right. But next week, Heavy T will be back, and he will be dressed as a pickle, because he lost the bet, the Red River rivalry. I took Oklahoma, he took Texas. He will be dressed as a pickle. We will do What Say Ye, Heavy T, and I will give him his eulogy. I didn't mean to Dr. Seuss that up, but they'll happen next week. So make sure you come back next week to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network and get in where you fit in, as Too Short would say. Next week is going to be a lot of fun. So going over what we learned earlier in the show in the NFL, I'm going to re-rank teams based on division, where I think we stand now. And a lot of teams in the NFL that we thought we knew who they were, in the words of
But they are who we
Dennis
thought they
Grady,
were. And we let them off the hook.
are no longer, right? For example, we thought that the 49ers were going to go. The only game they had that was worrisome was the Eagles. If they lose the Eagles game, they can still go undefeated the rest of the way. Well, that turns out not to be the case. They've lost the last 3 and haven't looked good doing it. Purdy, I still think Purdy's fine. But we kind of got to look at that and go, okay, maybe they're not the team we thought they were. Because currently, right now, they're not even first place in their own division. The Seahawks are. And the Seahawks, even though they had a good year last year, a slow off-the-gate start this year, they've now won 2 in a row, and they're 5-2. That's right. The Seahawks are 5-2 and in first place in the NFC West. So you gotta look at them. And they made their defense better today with the trade with the Giants. The Seahawks defense is nasty. It's really good. Witherspoon's been fantastic. Reek's been unbelievable. If they put everything together and Geno Smith plays like he did towards the end of last year, this Seahawks team, there's no reason why I can't say they can go win the Super Bowl. So I got to move them up in my rankings, right? I got to re-rank them. I think the Seahawks currently right now are the 3rd best team in the NFC. Yeah, I really do. Their defense got better today before the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. But by the way, the NFL trade deadline is the worst of all sports trade deadlines. Nothing really ever happens. Brandon Cooks may get traded. That's about it. That's a joke. He probably won't this year. But, every other year. Derrick Henry is probably not going anywhere. No one's. It's it'll be stale, but it's always fun to wonder. I still think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. But now you got to look at the Cowboys, who were 5-2 at a very impressive win yesterday. I was a little low on the Cowboys at the beginning of the season. Then it got lower when the season started, and they got blanketed by Arizona. But now, after a good win against the Chargers, a comeback win, and a great win over the weekend, I had the Cowboys as my number 2 team in the NFC. That's right. I have Eagles, Cowboys, then Seahawks. Then I have the 49ers, and then I have the Lions. That's how kind of I re-rank it. And I didn't even have the Lions my top 10 at the beginning of the year because I thought the Packers would be better. I was wrong. So in the NFC, I got Eagles, Cowboys, Seahawks, 49ers, and Lions as my top 5. 2 other teams have to make the playoffs. And what's funny is one of them is going to be out of the NFC South. Falcons, Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, 1-6. We're going to take them out. The Falcons have quarterback issues. The Saints have identity issues. And the Buccaneers, well, they're now becoming who we thought they were. The Falcons and Saints are both 4-4, sit atop the NFC South. So I have to put someone in my 6th spot in my NFC rankings. I think the Falcons are a better team on paper, defensively, offensively. But I think the Saints somehow find a way to win this division. Derek Carr, the offense, Alvin Kamara. I just think the Saints pull it out. So I put them at 6. And I would have the Vikings at the last team to get into the playoffs at this point. I would, but you can't now. The injury to Cousins has me thinking that maybe the Falcons sneak in as a wild card. And after that, everybody else is under 500 in the NFC. So we were right about the NFC. It's going to be terrible. So re-ranking my rankings, the NFC, Eagles, Cowboys, Seahawks, 49ers, Lions, Saints, and Falcons all go to the playoffs. Moving on to the AFC. This is a little bit more complex, if you would. At the beginning of the season, I had the Bills as my number one team. Then the Chiefs. Then I had the Bengals. And I kind of like the Texas team to be a sleeper in the playoffs. But we're re-ranking where I was wrong. The Bills are still 5-3, but I'm not sold. Now, Leonard Fournette, yes, Uncle Lenny, was signed today to the Bills. And I have a lot of shares of James Cook, and I am not happy about it. So we'll see how that all plays out. He'll have to obviously go to the practice squad, see how it works out, practice this week, and see if he actually gets active this week. But now we got a case where the Chiefs, the Dolphins, and the Ravens, and the Jaguars are all atop their division at 6-2. The Jaguars make sense. They do have the longest winning streak in the NFL, 5 games. They've been playing great. And dealing with that go back and forth from London, stay there for an extra week, play, that's tough. That's not easy. So shout out to them. And we talked about it earlier, Rant on the Street, how this Jaguars team, the sky is the limit. Their offense is incredible. Lawrence just is a little bit more consistent, and their defense plays like it has been lately. This team could win the Super Bowl. I'll tell you that right now. But I'm going to re-rank here. Even though the Chiefs lost, they are the defending champions. I have to put them at number 1. 6-2. They lost to Detroit. Not as bad of a loss as you would think. And it's also week 1, where you're still trying to figure out what you have. But the loss to Denver was utmost, and I mean utmost, embarrassing, to say the least. But I still have them at number 1. Here's where things get interesting. At number 2, I have the Ravens. I was not high on them this year. I thought the Bengals would win this division, clearly. But watching the Ravens play football this year, unlike last year where they blew leads, they're healthy. Zay Flowers is the real deal as a wide receiver 1. Mark Andrews, a.k.a. Mandrews, is the real deal. And Lamar Jackson, even though he didn't have to do too much yesterday, but you saw 2 weeks ago that he could be MVP Lamar Jackson. And the defense is playing at a very high level, which means maybe Lamar Jackson doesn't have to be MVP Lamar Jackson. He can put up enough points to win. I have the Ravens number 2. In a tough division, by the way, the AFC North. So I got Chiefs, Ravens. Again, I'm changing my tune. 3, I'm putting the Jaguars. They have the longest winning streak currently in the NFL. They have to deal with the travel to London. They're starting to click and play. And the defense for the Jaguars is playing incredible defense. Can you imagine that year that the Jaguars and Blake Bortles went to the AFC Championship game? If they had this offense, they would have won the Super Bowl. Clearly. I like what I'm seeing there. I have the Jaguars at 3 and really running away with this division. Jaguars at 3. 4, the Dolphins. The offense is incredible. They got slowed down a little bit. Tyreek Hill is going to get 2,000 yards receiving. It's going to happen. But on the defensive side of the ball, there's issues there with this Miami Dolphins team. And Mozart's been great. We don't know when Achane's coming back. And Mozart's very injury prone as well. So is Tua at that degree. So with the defense not being as good, I love McDaniel. I love the play calling. I put them at 4. At 5, and this is funny because they're currently actually in last place in their division. The Cincinnati Bengals. Quietly, after a slow start, like every year, the Cincinnati Bengals are 4-3. And looking good and healthy. T. Higgins is healthy. Chase is healthy. Mixon, well, he's Mixon. Burrow's healthy. The defense is playing pretty good. They've won 3 in a row now after being 1-3. I'm not sold on the Browns offensively. I'm sorry. Even with Deshaun Watson or P.J. Walker, they could have the best defense in the world. This is the new modern day of NFL. The Browns are not going to make the play. The Bengals, however, I can see a wild card. So I have the Bengals at number 5. 6 is the Bills. Yeah, I know. They were my number 1 team at the beginning of the year. They were. Consistency. And Thomas Stevens 2 weeks ago put this into my eyes. And now when I watch the Bills play, I see it, and you will too. They have no identity other than scramble, scramble, throw it far. That's all Josh Allen does. And if there's no one far, he runs it. It's easy to stop it. And when you do, they're either going to put up 50 or not. Like, it's very inconsistent for the Bills. And I don't like what I'm seeing lately. So they're great at home, obviously. But their road woes is going to cost them. That's why I don't have them winning the division anymore. I think the Dolphins do. And I think they get in at 6. And somebody has to get in at 7. And I'm going to do it. And you're going to hate me for it, my fellow ranters. But after what I saw last night and how close some of these losses have been, I do think the Chargers sneak into that 7 wildcard spot. Why I still have them ranked 7th in the AFC. I had them ranked higher before, but now 7th. Because you look at the Raiders, you look at the Broncos, you look at the Browns, the Steelers, the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, the Jets, the Patriots. You cannot tell me that the Chargers are not a better team. And a pretty decent schedule here the next few weeks to kind of help them out to get that back over 500 and make that 7th seed. So here's how I have it. In the AFC, by re-ranking the teams after what I've seen, number 1 is still the Chiefs. Number 2, I got to give it shout out with shout outs due to the Ravens. Number 3, I love what Jacksonville is doing. Number 4, the Dolphins. Number 5, the Bengals. Number 6, the Bills. Number 7, the Chargers. I think those are the 14 best teams in the NFL and what should, from what I've seen, clear the, or not clear, but be the playoff field in the NFL this year. All right, like I said, we're probably going to call it a little bit of an early night because we don't have heavy tea tonight. And I know you guys want to get into this game. It's currently 23-14 now. Gibbs, by the way, I said he was balling out. Jahmyr Gibbs has 22 rushing attempts for 142 yards and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, not to mention 5 for 37 through the air. St. Brown over 100 yards. Laporta, 8 receptions for 57 and a touchdown. The offense for the Detroit Lions is here. And shout out to you Gibbs owners who finally got the big day you were looking for. Well, you did pretty good last week, too, in the second half. So 2 straight good weeks for Jahmyr Gibbs. Looks like it's starting to pay off, like I said. On the Raiders side of the ball, Jimmy Garoppolo is 6 of 14 for 62 yards in the fourth quarter and 1 interception. That's right. Austin Hooper leads the team in receiving, 2 catches for 19 yards. Mayer 1 for 19. Josh Jacobs 1 for 12. Devontae Adams 1 catch for 11 yards. Hunter Renfrow 1 for 1. Jacoby Myers, put him on a milk carton because he's missing. I'm sorry, Josh, from earlier, who needed him to get 13 points. It ain't happening. I think Garoppolo is... I think they should just put O'Connell out there and see if he can develop the rest of the year. Why not? What do you have to lose? I guarantee you O'Connell can do that, if not better. I think the Garoppolo experiment in the NFL as a whole, as a starting quarterback, should be on. By the way, his interception was absolutely terrible. Underthrew a deep ball to Devontae that was an easy interception. It's Jimmy G right off in the sunset, my friend. We no longer want to watch you play football anymore. There's my eulogy for the night. Not for the Guillotine League, but for Jimmy Garoppolo. All right. Like I said, we're probably going to call it a little bit of early night tonight. I will do one last thing before I go. as I always do. And we're going to have some fun with it as well because I think I got a cool image. I'm not sure. Or do I? Hey, there it is. Everyone's favorite every Monday night.
Sounds like somebody's
Check
got
it
a
out.
case of the Mondays.
Case of the Monday. And boy, did we have some good ones this week, didn't we? We sure did. All right, let's jump into it. Case of the Mondays, this Monday, the 30th of October. Number one. And by the way, this is the first time this team has been on Case of the Mondays ever on my show, and I've been doing this since 2015. The Kansas City Chiefs. Touchdown favorites in Denver. After silencing Russell Wilson and Sean Payton in primetime just 2 weeks ago. The reigning Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Patrick Mahomes, 2 terrible interceptions. The offense was miserable. Maybe it was because Taylor Swift wasn't there. I don't know. It was ugly to watch. And at the end of it, after Denver won, all the players and all the fans stayed for a rendition over the loudspeakers of Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. Well, it's hard to shake that loss off because it looked terrible. And I'm sure they didn't shake it off because it is Monday. So for the first time ever, Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Another first on Case of the Mondays. It used to be pretty good, but now it looks pretty bad. The second-year Phenom probably losing the Phenom title now, especially when it comes to crunch time, because lately, the last 3 weeks, for example, during crunch time, there's been no crunch about it. Purdy's been awful. Turnovers. He's been a turnover magnet the last 3 weeks. Let's be real. 2 picks against the Bengals. Really, he's been the main reason, if not, I mean, McCaffrey's doing his thing, but he's been the main reason why they've lost these 3 games in a row. Let's be real. Turnovers, not coming into clutch when he needs to, not making the plays when he needs to, unlike what he did last year. So going to this, people are calling for Sam Darnold. I am not. I do not want to see Sam Darnold play football for the 49ers. I do not. Maybe they should have traded Trey Lance. Yes, they should have. It'll all get figured out. But today, Brock Purdy.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
This one's fun. Just starting quarterbacks yesterday in general. We're talking, obviously, Kirk Cousins. Desmond Ridder went out with a concussion, got cleared to come back and was benched for Taylor Heineke anyways. Kenny Pickett left the game with a rib injury for Mitch Trubisky, who threw 2 interceptions to nobody's surprise. By the way, top 5 Bears quarterback of all time. It's true. Tyrod Taylor had to go to the hospital. Poor guy, man. Poor guy. And Matthew Stafford, also a thumb injury. I'm telling you, it was a bad day for starting quarterbacks in the NFL. And I just named like 5 of them. There's more than that. Obviously, say Mahomes, Purdy. So half the league yesterday, a starting quarterback, all of them today, whether it's being hurt or just letting down your fans. All the starting quarterbacks today.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
And this one is really fun before I let you go off into your merry Halloween Eve night. I just had to do this. I had to. I'm not talking about the Jets, players, coaches. I'm not talking about the Giants, players, coaches. By the way, Kevin Thibodeau was not offsides. That was insane. More on the refs every week that we do this show. Who really has the case of the Mondays? Anybody who watched that game. It was terrible. It was the Battle of New Jersey, really. The Battle of Newark. It was ugly. The 2 teams combined for 4 for 34 on third down. We have 24 punts. 24 punts. The Jets had 58 rushing yards and lost 2 fumbles. The Giants had -9 passing yards. -9. You think, God, please just end this game. Then it goes to overtime. Luckily, the Jets were able to drive down and kick the field goal. Greg the Leg, well, he used to be Greg the Leg. Now he's Greg the Sometimes Leg. After a pass interference call, kicked the 33-yard game winner for the Jets. But so shout out to the Jets, by the way, who are now 4-3 after losing Aaron Rodgers to 4 plays. So shout out to them. The Giants are in trouble. Tommy DeVito out of Illinois, not the answer at quarterback if Daniel Jones can't come back. It looks like Tyrod Taylor is going to miss some time anyways. The Giants are done, man. It's over for them. So, but they don't have a case of the Mondays. The Jets don't have a case of the Mondays. Anybody who had to watch that game has.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
There you go. Arizona was able to score a run here in the top of the 9th. There is 2 outs, though. It is 3-1. It looks like it's going to be Texas here. 1-2 count. We're running through the end of this real quick before we go. And then we'll call it a night. The 52-yard field goal attempt here to make it 26-14 with 10 minutes left, pretty much putting the Raiders in trouble. And like I said, Garoppolo can't do a thing. And by a thing, he cannot do anything tonight. Austin Hooper's your leading receiver at 2 and 19, and you have Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams on your team. That is a problem. Going over to the NBA real quick before I go, I want to let you know that we did put bets down on the Lakers-Orlando game. It just started. It is 10-8 Lakers. I like it that it's 10-8 because it looks like the under, which I was really high on, over the -2.5, which I thought was surprising, is going to hit. As far as some of the props go, I like Banchero on the under of points. So far in the first quarter, he has 0. So that's looking good there. And as far as LeBron James, he also has 0 as well on the over. But for the most part, it's looking like, I know it's the NBA. It doesn't matter until after halftime. I get it. But I like the way this game is playing out in the under favor and also the Lakers favor as it goes. So I'm going to be watching that. I'm going to be watching the NFL. Hopefully the Raiders can come back and make it a good thing, but it is the Raiders after all. Oh, what is Monday Night Rants without Raiders slander? What can I say? But I do want to say one thing before I go out tonight. I want to wish you all very safe and happy Halloween. Enjoy it. Spend the time with your kids. Take them out trick-or-treating. It's one of the best things you can do as parents. It is so much fun around here. I'm going to get up tomorrow and put stuff out in the smoke machine and eerie music and have a lot of fun with my daughter and my family. Have some pizza, obviously. That's why I'm dressed like a Ninja Turtle. I hope you guys have a fun Halloween as well. And stay safe out there for sure. Next week on Monday Night Rants, it's going to be a doozy. It always is, but next week, really. Heavy T is going to be back. He's going to be dressed as a pickle. A pickle. Because he lost the bet. Remember, he had to eat a pickle. He almost threw up. He had to drink pickle juice. He did throw up. And now he has to dress like a pickle. And he officially has pretty much lost the Guillotine League this week, which means I'm going to be giving the eulogy next week to Heavy T as we wish him farewell in the Guillotine League here at Monday Night Rants, which, by the way, rave reviews by everybody, even people who are out of it already. I know on the Dynasty Nerds last week, me and Heavy T played the prank on Garrett where we showed his eulogy during one of his breaks, and he took it well, but he was saying on the show how much fun he was having. And I already have people who want to get in next year, but I'm telling you, we can only have 18. You only have 18 people next year, and I don't think any one of the 18 are going to drop out. If someone does, we will open the spot. I guarantee we will open spots. We'll have a drawing or something, but it is one of the funnest leagues you will ever play in. It's the Monday Night Rants Fantasy Football Guillotine League. It's a blast. So I'm already looking forward to next year. I'm trying to win this year, baby. Looks like I'm safe this week as well, even though Patty Mahomes did not have the flu game we thought he would have, which is sad, but it's okay. What can you do? Thank God for Alvin Kamara and Brandon Ayuk as well. So looking good there for one more week. I know Heavy T is not happy about it, but we'll talk to him about that next week. So next week, everybody, Monday Night Rants, the bet will be paid for Heavy T. Monday Night Football is going to be the Jets and the Chargers. Another Charger Monday Night Football game. Whew. My heart can't take it, but we're going to have some fun. And, of course, no baseball. That should be ending this weekend, but we'll have NBA best bets as well. And I think I have something in line for a really, really special guest next week. I'm working on it. I think will really, really be fun. And we're going to have some fun with it as well. And I know Heavy T wants to bring back his game show, which was a blast doing as well. I would think I may make him do it next week because he's going to be dressed as a pickle. I think that would be fun as well. So come back next week. Monday Night Rants, Chargers, Jets, NBA, a lot more. From myself, from Heavy T, wherever he is tonight on vacation, chilling, probably on a yacht with some models eating avocado ice cream just like Tom Brady. At least I hope he is. From Tom and Steven, thanks for being a good sport. He dressed up for Halloween as well. Let me see your Halloween costumes, everyone. Tweet me, DM me on Instagram. Thank you so much for putting up with my Instagram videos as well each and every week. It's been a blast doing those. From everyone here at the Better Sports Network, from myself, Edward Raus, we'll see you next week, my fellow ranters, on Monday Night Rants, your favorite Monday night destination. As always, shout out Taj McGowan. Boom.